Welcome back to the Stoop football fans. It's your boy Lolo. Somehow I tried to clean my lens as the show was kicking off, and it made it incredibly worse. So here's some production value. There you go. Wipe it off. There you go. All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. It is, yeah, John, sorry. I did tell you
15
10
seconds
seconds
in,
into
I'm
the
correct.
show. You get the correct one.
It's been a
Happy
week
Friday.
for a beer. Welcome back.
Oh, boy, has
Both
it
of
been
us.
a week.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. And welcome back from Romania, John, as well. It is Friday. There was Champions League action this week. There was Europa League action, Europa Conference League action. There's been all sorts of controversy popping off just today between the likes of Barcelona being called out for paying off refs and shit like that, to the Gary Lineker match of the day sort of debacle that's going on right now. I don't know how much anybody's been keeping up with it, but it's been an interesting this morning on the plane. I was on a plane at 7 a.m. coming back here from Miami, and yeah, I was like, what is all this stuff about? Yeah. Anything. Can of 7-Up, anyone? And Scooby D2 hit the nail on the head right there. I had to put it up there in the title because we didn't really talk about it at all. But, you know, we may not like Liverpool at some times, but I think we all loved Liverpool last weekend, putting up 7 goals on Manchester United. It was crazy. We'll get to all that action as we go through that. And Macron, oh, I almost did it again. Macronical, there you go, says, honestly, who the F is going to play through the middle for Arsenal on Sunday? Ooh, I'm very interested to see in all that as well. Ben Arizona, sorry, John, I'll stop clicking. I'll stay out of your way. Mr. Tom, good to see you as well. Gary is in there. Who was our first one today? Was it Anders? I think it was Anders with the first. But I saw a message from, who is that? Ben Arizona says finally can watch you guys live. All right, man. Well, I'm glad you can join us. Does that mean you're over here or you're just not working? You let me know. So yeah, guys, here's something that I wanted to kick off a topic of conversation today. Of course, we'll talk anything you guys want to talk about in the comment section. The more you tell us to talk about stuff, you know how we get sidetracked. But right now, I kind of wanted to hit on the Gary Lineker thing without hitting on what he was actually talking about, because I don't want, this is not a political show or anything like that. Hey, Mark said he sent that to you. I'll get Mark on in a little bit. He said he sent that to you, Ben. That it should be in the mail. Or not. I'm not sure. We'll have him answer that. But I wanted to get into the whole, if you haven't heard, Gary Lineker posted on social media. It was just his thoughts on a certain situation that's going on politically. And we hear all the time with actors and professional athletes and all that, as soon as they speak up about something political, we hear, whoa, stay in your lane, do what you do, just kick the football around, don't say anything, or listen, you're a pundit, don't say anything, we don't care about your opinion, things like that. So I want to gauge y'all's feelings on that when anytime a celebrity or a professional athlete or people who do one thing really, really well speak about something else and they get put down for it. Do you guys agree with that? Do you think that's the right way to go about it? Do you think people should be sacked from their jobs talking about football when they talked about something else that has nothing to do with football? It's a very touchy subject to not actually go into details about what they were talking about. So, and interesting, Mr. Tom says, I think Gary Lineker is finding out about being on the wrong end of cancel culture. However, he's getting a lot of support immediately, where we've seen with cancel culture, support comes after a month or so, after some time going off. So let me go ahead and bring on. Yeah, and then Luke W says BBC underestimated how much sway Lineker has. Yeah, because straight away you had the likes of, I think, Ian Wright. Was it Ian Wright? And Harry Shearer, not Harry Shearer, Alan Shearer, the Simpsons guy. But you had Alan Shearer as well say that they're not going to be doing it anyway. BBC banned players from wearing the poppy. What? Wow, that's interesting. So, guys, as I said, all the actual specificity of the political ins and outs of it is less what I would like to focus on. And what I would like to focus on is the whole shut up, stay in your lane type attitude that society tends to have with players and with celebrities like that. My thoughts on what I'm presenting to you all are this. I feel that if you are in the spotlight, if you are a professional athlete, if you are an actor, a musician, somebody who is in the political, not political, who is in the public eye, you start to become bigger than yourself. And where you want to talk about freedom of speech, free speech, I get to say whatever I want to say. I'm a human being. It starts to be a little bit bigger. Let's take it to a tiny level. It's like me. Things I say are no longer just mine. Things I say on happy hour are no longer just my things. They're our little community. They represent our little community of the 25, 30 people who show up every Friday to watch our show and everybody else on here. So even though something I say you may agree with, you may not agree with, it can be seen as, oh, that's what On the Stoop with Lolo believes. That's what Happy Hour believes. So if you take it up to the grand scales of the BBC, that's where they're like, oh no, you can't do that. We're going to have a talking. We're going to have a talking to. Gary Lineker's going to get a talking to, and possibly get fired because he mentioned something that we don't want us to be associated with on a grander scale. Then we can get into all the hypocrisy of all of that, of the amount of crap that companies like that do allow to happen and don't say a thing about. So I'm going to stop going in circles on my own head. As you can tell, I'm drinking a big ass cup of coffee. Big up to my dad. That's my dad right there. So helping me get through this. So I'm going to bring on Mark. Mr. Mark, get in here, my friend. Help me out here. Do you have any clue what I'm talking about? Can you help me sort my own? I can't hear you.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
I was waiting for.
I do know. To answer your question, I do know that Gary Lineker was suspended from BBC based on some comments that he made on Twitter.
Yeah.
As far
comments and retweets.
Yes, of course. And I'm going to get to that because I think that like this whole monster, we're going to call it, this beast of social media is not exactly it's not exactly an age-old thing when it comes to its particular branch of media. It's relatively new. You know, I mean, Twitter's been around 10 years, Facebook's been around 15. I'm a little short. I don't quite have the time right, but you know, the way we communicate opinion now has completely changed. That the opinion that might be to say a select few. Now, say you had mentioned yourself, you had mentioned the show, myself, you know, I can say something on Twitter and now that might reach 1,000 people, which is far more than I could ever expect. Someone like Gary Lineker will tweet something or communicate something, and that will reach potentially millions of people. The reverse is that's how many more people have an opinion on what was said. And you're going to have people that agree, and you're going to have people that disagree. And, you know, things will be drawn accordingly. You know, who's going to win? Who's going to win that battle? Those that disagree, those that agree. You know, and what I
Mark,
think
I feel like
is,
that. I feel like that will never get solved, because it'll just be, even if one issue gets solved of, okay, who wins that one little battle, I feel like I'm more, I kind of feel bad for celebrities and people like that when all they do is say, like, where you see their human element come out and they say, oh, that is what I believe, has nothing to do with anything I do on a daily basis. And then they get killed for it, or they get destroyed for it.
Sure.
But then there's other times where I am kind of like, dude, shut up and stay in your lane. So that's more what I want. I want to.
I think it comes down to, it's just like, you know, man, it's such a slippery slope. You know, I mean, you can having an opinion and then but then sharing that opinion has become kind of different now. You know, where there's consequences for having that opinion, whatever it is. And I think that, like, you know, there is something to and I know I'm going to say this very differently from the way that you said it, as far as staying in your lane, keeping it to yourself. You know, we've kind of forgotten over the years with social media the adage of, you know, if you don't have anything nice to say, keep it to yourself. You know, or something to that akin. You know, so.
Right.
But it's because that I still think that we're not learned enough. We don't we don't quite understand the power of social media. We don't we still don't understand the extent.
We think we do. We think we do.
Like, we think we do.
There's people who think they do.
But you know, the it's like a feedback loop. You know.
Yeah.
It hears, it comes back, it hears, it comes back. And it almost becomes this kind of perverted game of telephone.
Almost, kind of.
No,
No,
this
fucking Mark,
is where I'm at.
it.
This is what I'm saying. It's like it
it's
becomes
a perverted
this perverted game of telephone where like literally the message can be lost. So like whatever Gary Lannister, whatever. But whatever he had said isn't necessarily going to be that message won't continue, because it might just continue with, that guy Gary's an asshole. And then that gets spread across. Because it's something he said, but what he said doesn't matter anymore. My opinion of him being an asshole is what's going to carry. Or someone might say, well, you know, that guy's getting a bum rush. You know, what he did, he didn't do anything wrong. But then suddenly that takes off. And the original issue is left in the dust because a different opinion has come forth. And that's all they focus on.
So if we take opinion away, let's take, for example, Mason Greenwood. Comes out all this, you know, videos and stuff from his girlfriend saying how he raped her and he beat her, and there's all this stuff about that. In the court of public opinion, Mason Greenwood was done and dusted. And basically he was, and he went to jail for a little bit while he was being while the whole trial was going on, investigated, and then it ends up all being dropped and all being cleared, and they recall their statements, and he may come back and play football.
Right.
So does the law matter? Because legally, he's done nothing wrong.
Exactly. But
does the public
saying,
opinion reign
in
supreme?
In that particular situation, if suddenly we'll call it the echo chamber, if the echo chamber picked up that, oh, Mason Greenwood is innocent and he did nothing wrong, and that was the message that went out over and over and over again, eventually no one will know what he did. They just know that he had been absolved of whatever transgression.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Thomas Partey still gets booed at every away match that we play, basically, because people have decided that it's him, and we still don't know this unnamed person. Anyway, Mark, let's Director John. When Director John is begging for football talk, that's how you know we've gone on too long on this first topic.
Fair enough.
But I want to bring Gary on here. I want to hear what Gary has to say on some of this.
Yep.
What's up, Gary? How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, kind of.
They all requested less Arsenal talk, so I was like, okay, here you go.
It sounds looks like they're okay talking, bashing BBC and all of that. So there you go. Yeah. No, I was listening to you guys, and I saw some things written about this whole situation, and I think there's a couple of things. So he can talk about Qatar all he wants, but he can't talk about England. That's essentially what's going on here, because it's not political. It's political that they're talking about. When everybody was up in arms about the Qatar, World Cup and all of that, fine, go right ahead. I mean, you had Alex Scott wearing an armband, with the rainbow and all that kind of stuff. They were fine.
Yeah,
they're not fine when it's in their own house, right? You got the skeletons in your own closet, then it's a problem.
Yeah, I think that's where somebody had mentioned the poppy was wrong, but kneeling is okay. So political statements are not wrong and inherently wrong in their minds, but certain ones. Well, there you go.
And that's just the kind of celebrity that BxGunner will be.
Yeah, and as Mark said,
porn star banging celebrity.
Well, and also
he's gonna, he's basically Emilio Estevez's brother. What's his name?
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen. Yes, the Vatican vampire assassin.
Yeah, as Mark said when he first started. Celebrities and stay in your lane, all that kind of stuff. They want celebrities to help, like when there's like a political issue where people might need some support, food, clothes, housing and stuff. But then when it's about something else, no, you guys got to be quiet about that, right? Because it affects them, right? It affects them.
Absolutely.
So it's they want you to be political under their guys, not under yours, not under things that are going on in the world today. Right. So it's kind of they're finding out they did the wrong thing because because they're talking to a person who actually helped people, and then he's talking about that with a little bit of background behind it, and when somebody's doing that for people that need help, and then you turn around and then he talks about it, and then they kind of ban him. You're like, wait a second, what are you guys doing? This is not good for. It's always. Is it good for business? I don't think so, because everybody's up in arm. Like Ian Wright's like, I'll pass.
Well, I think that's more of somebody in the comments. I don't remember which one it was, but somebody in the comments said it's interesting to see how nobody was jumping. Usually, when somebody gets canned from like an anchor spot or something, it's like, oh, I'll do it. And a lot of people are like, I'm not jumping in his match of the day chair, because then it's going to inherently apply that I disagree with what he said politically and I agree with the other side, when they're like, I just want to do football. So we're going to go do Soccer of the Day on Amazon Prime or something like that.
Do you think that he kind of like, before he sent out that tweet, before he made the comments that he did, do you think that he kind of looked at himself and going, I need to make this statement, or Oh God, maybe I shouldn't because this could fuck things up for me.
But it's close to his heart because he actually was helping people under that guise. So the comments that he was making was based on something he actually had done himself. Like it's like you going out there and you did a charity event and then somebody was trying to belittle it. You would immediately have a response to it, regardless of whether you're at work or not, because you're like, wait a second, this is something I've done. This is something these are the people I've helped. And so I don't. I think it's just human nature to be able to respond to something when you're like, wait a second, I'm helping people out, and you're telling me, you know what, we're going to make it even harder for these people to get the help. So
right. Well, I mean, at least he's doing that. I mean, one of the issues that
guys, I don't want to get into the actual political stuff. I want to keep it more of, it's touchy, okay? Not to censor
so in other
guys. I'm just trying to keep y'all from being banned off of my show. John's over there canning people.
You're gonna kick
us
out. You're gonna cancel us.
Himself.
All right, I think we should all have a nice, cool can of Nil Zero and move on to the next subject.
Yeah, Nil Zero brought to you by Wolverspan
on the Stoop. On the Stoop, brought to you by Nil Zero.
No.
When you just don't get enough and you want a little bit less.
I'm not gonna hear it. I like this Nil Zero thing.
I just can't get enough Nil Zero. For the time
I'm actually working on a logo for a T-shirt for all of us.
Nil Zero. That's a great one.
Nil Zero.
Perfect.
And y'all motherfuckers out there, this is ours. This is our fuck up, and we're gonna embrace it. And don't you steal Nil
There's no
Zero.
fuck up. It wasn't a fuck up. It was perfectly planned. Gary had thought it through.
That's my screen name, Neil Zero.
Nil Zero.
Nil Zero. Didn't he play for Rush?
Yeah. So sorry, not sorry, but not sorry. But as you guys know, depending on which television series I'm burning through, my head does get swayed that way. Like when I was watching Punisher, I was very angry all the time and wanting to fight people. So guess what I'm watching? The final season of Peaky Blinders. So yeah, it's kind of all leading around British support. That's crazy. Don't tell me what happens in the last few episodes if anybody knows.
Kill
but let's
each
bring
and every one of you if you do. I have yet to finish it.
Let's bring up who else has been waiting the longest. John, what do you think? Or is it time to open the floodgates and make this a crazy party? What's up, Ben Ireland? Good to see you. Are you guys muted?
What the world is that?
Ben is. Who the fuck is that?
Is that somebody's underwear? Why do you have underwear?
Ben, you are muted.
Me.
We can't unmute you.
It's me.
You look like
that
Macho
Italy
Man
Jack?
Randy Savage if he was a serial killer.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? And Ben,
is that
while
your
I'm watching Peaky Blinders, there's a lot of times where I'm like, yeah, that's Ben. Ben's totally a Peaky Blinder at some point in his history.
I've never seen
there
him.
was.
Is that the new Ultimate Warrior you call?
I came up with something.
No, I'm on about in the cup, Italy Jet.
Oh, in the cup.
Huh? No, whatever.
We do wrestling in the mug every week.
No. The cup is not whatever.
No. The cup, the cup's bigger than us. So am I right to believe that is the unboxed version?
Well,
Okay.
because people
There's a
don't
story
know,
behind it, yeah.
I received a box on Wednesday filled with goodies from our loyal viewer to the Full Nelson podcast and all of our podcasts. Mr. BxGunner sent me a box of goodies. This T-shirt.
No
That's my
way.
podcast.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, this T-shirt. Yeah.
Can we get a long look at that T-shirt? Because that is like one of my favorite. That is one of my favorite sayings by the Macho Man. Is that when he says, "Cream of the crop"? I fucking love that.
And one of the items in the box was a authentic WrestleMania 7 Ultimate Warrior figurine, complete with the coat he wore.
Damn.
The Macho King.
When he played Macho
I know.
Man.
It's fucking, pardon my language, fucking awesome.
No.
Wow.
You need to let all all profanities fly in the most positive way. That is amazing.
Yeah.
BxGunner, you are the king to do that for Mr. Tom.
You got another
He sent me a
t-shirt, didn't you?
T-shirt of my podcast as well. Yeah,
It don't light up very well though on camera.
yeah. It's pink. The pink font doesn't show up well in the dark, but it's an excellent T-shirt, and I was touched. They took the time to send it.
Well, that's fucking incredible. BxGunner, looking out. Good looks, man. Italy Jet, I see you're rocking out. You win 2-0 in the
man.
Conference League. All of a sudden, West Ham is like ready to go. And not to mention West Ham, but an ex-Jet, isn't that the quarterback who just signed for an incredible amount of money? Wasn't he a Jet at some point?
Which one are you talking
quarterback?
about? Which one are you talking
Geno
about? Brett
Smith?
Favre?
Geno
Oh,
Smith.
Yeah.
Geno
Yeah,
Smith.
I mean, good for him, right?
You're very
I'm happy.
limited when you say incredible quarterbacks.
I know it's like
No. I said for an incredible price.
Well,
I said an incredible price.
anybody from the Jets.
I
Anybody from
still
the
don't
Jets
remember his
is
name, so yeah, he's not that good.
Have you
Yeah,
signed
when you
Aaron
go.
Rodgers yet?
No, that's probably going to keep going and going and going, and then he might retire, right? So we'll
Hopefully.
see. Oh, hopefully. Who's your team, Tom?
Hopefully. Green Bay Packers.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Have fun with that, Tom. Have fun with that.
Explain, Tom, why you picked the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. Cheesehead?
Cheesehead? No. Well,
Actually,
yeah, but no, I
he
don't,
would be
I
the
don't
last
like
person
cheese.
to do it because
Yeah.
because of cheese.
Yeah, he doesn't like cheese.
Yeah, I hate cheese. But
Oh.
basically, I bought Madden 09 on the PlayStation 3 in 09 and basically created my character, or it was myself, and then I was drafted by the Green Bay Packers, and that's how I learned the rules of the NFL. Because I watched the Super Bowl, like for the 2008, I think it was Patriots and Giants, and then I was watching it, but I didn't really know what was happening. I was just following the score, and I was like, oh, well, they look happy, and they don't look happy, so that's what's happening. And then, so I taught myself via the PlayStation game, but then I was like, all right, the Green Bay Packers invested in me in the virtual world, so I'll buy their hat.
Hey, why not? Why not?
That's the thing that happened. Sorry,
Why
everyone,
not?
on Friday night.
No.
Oh,
But
I'm going to join the show and see what's going on. You're going to get great stories, not great stories.
No.
You get
Those are the
stories.
type
Why
of
not?
stories of like why Americans follow which Premier League team they follow. It's something weird like that where you're like, oh, the first FIFA that I got, I played with this team and I really liked it or something. Who
Yeah.
knows? So don't
happens.
bash your own story, Tom. It was a good story. It is very when you start off the show talking about political nonsense like that, we need a little refiring up in the mid halfway point of the first half. So speaking of which, fellas, what else are we going to talk about? Yes, 7-Up, my favorite soft drink these days. How much fun was it to see Manchester United completely collapse, fight each other? Bruno Fernandes begging to get subbed off, complaining when his number didn't
He's a
come up on the
disgrace.
board.
Hold on, sorry. He's a disgrace.
Tell me, Tom. Tell me.
He's an embarrassment. If he played for Leeds and did that, he'd never play for us again. I can tell you that, no matter how fucking good he is. Do you know, right, I've seen Man United fans on the internet, right? You only hate him because he's good. No, I hate him because he's good and behaves like a prick. Because he's a great player, but he could be an elite player if he didn't spend 90% of the match chasing the referee around, trying to get things to go his way. When most of the time they do go his way because he plays for Manchester United. He's a fucking shambles. Embarrassment,
The guy's a
shambles.
He's
Yeah.
a typical
He's a
Man
rooster.
United player. That is what it takes to be a Man United player. He's a snivelly little whining referee chasing, not there when it counts. Wanker. And I'm glad he's been found out because he's a prick.
Oh, but he
Hey,
scored against Betis.
tell us what you really think, guys.
I think they did.
It's a cunt.
I think they did.
Yeah, that was awesome. So to me, getting beat 7-0, look, I suppose it can just happen. You can just have a bad day. But watching that, it's like, how can you be proud of that team when you saw their hearts, they were fighting each other, they stopped running, it's like they were begging the referee to just blow the whistle.
Did you not
at
think they'd
60
set themselves
minutes.
up for it though? Because let's face it, they've been papering over cracks. They're not actually a great side, are they? Let's
They're
be
in
honest.
a title race. They were
never in a title race, in my opinion. Never. I said it from minute one. It was never a 3-horse race. But I just feel that because they've gone on this little winning streak and Rashford's been scoring every week, something to distract. They've just set themselves up for it. So I'm glad it happened. It was great. It just kept getting better and better, didn't it?
Yeah, but
all right.
I mean, come on, it can happen to anyone.
It does. It's happened to us.
You know? I mean, it's happened to everyone that you just get spanked and you don't know why.
Yeah.
I mean, case in point, West Ham, sorry in Italy Jet, but I mean y'all took it to, who was it?
You mean yesterday?
No,
you
just
won 4-0 and lost 4-0.
2 weeks ago. You won like 4-0. And then you turn around and you lost 4-0.
I mean, that's West Ham.
I mean,
it's back and forth all the time.
I think that can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't think one game against a top club at home, you know, is a is a benchmark for what your season is doing.
Yeah, but you know what?
You know,
but
now,
you know
now
what?
if
It's funny. That's why
two
or
more
else this is
two
no
more
fun if
matches,
you can't laugh at that.
two more
What's the
matches,
point?
and United's still
What's the
doing
point
that.
of being a fan if you can't laugh at a 7-0
But
drubbing?
just like one, you know what?
Mark, you're missing
You're missing
the point. The point, because you're kind of saying exactly what I said is, it can happen to any team, and
It's
we
funny
see it
when it
happen to
happens to
people. Every time Leeds United was being battered by one of these teams, 6 goals, something like that, Leeds United fans could at least say, we were going at it till the end, and we were running, we were hustling, we were putting in meaner challenges.
And our fans were singing.
These guys capitulated. They started doing slide tackles after the guy had run past them, so it could look like to me. It was.
Did you see Varane at the end? Varane had to drag the players. We're all walking through the tunnel. Varane, I'll give Varane some credit. He had to drag the players to the fans that were actually still left in the ground watching that shit.
Yeah,
and
applaud the fans.
Mark got mad at Arteta for doing that when we lost to City last year, like that. We got the shit kicked out of us at City, and Arteta brought them back out of the locker room to go and cheer with our traveling fans.
I
remember you being like, "How dare you!"
I absolutely love when Lolo and Kantak and any Arsenal fan brings up something that happened last season and beyond. Oh, remember last season when you said that? Oh, come on.
David Luiz.
Come on.
What is he? Mark, what are you doing?
Mark,
he's backing you up.
Negate the fact that you actually said that. And so what I'm saying is,
I don't care. I don't care about this talk about matches that happened a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
It's not about a match, Mark.
Remember when David Luiz fucking ruined Raul Jimenez's career?
I was on about Varane
once again,
that game.
It was not about what happened in the match. It was about something that Ben said. I gotta give credit for Varane actually pulling those fuckers out and saying, no,
I didn't see that.
Paid money.
So I can't.
These people paid money. And so what I'm saying is, you said it was not cool that the manager embarrassed the players by pulling them out of the locker room to go back out there.
Yeah, I hate that.
Go back out there.
I hate that.
No, they're always right to do that.
They're always right to do that. These are the working class people who have spent money to travel.
Yes, they've paid. And like Man United to Liverpool and back, like it's not that far. But there are times Arsenal to Manchester's or London to Manchester's a lot further. And Arsenal fans did that journey probably knowing they were going to get battered. And they did get battered. but then the least you can do is then turn around and go, yeah, thanks for turning up to watch us play like
It's
shit.
like
Sorry,
you've been on
fair
a lot of
enough.
music gigs, haven't you, Mark? And you must have been on a few music gigs where you wished that the person you paid to see had come out and apologise because it was shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, Jimmy's right as well. To be fair to him.
What did he say? Yeah. He says managers. Sorry, John. Manager's job is to pull players that are being shit from the team, to pull players. Well, you only get 5 subs, and on that day, they were all bad.
So you're only really allowed 5 shit players.
Bruno's like
and a concussion sub.
But and I'm sorry
I think they're stopping
Bruno's
that.
also the captain. He's the captain, and for the board to come up and him see that it's not his number.
Do you think,
That's
going on the
very
concussion
perverted.
thing a minute, do you think we should adapt what the NFL do? It's like if there's a concussion injury, you've got to go in a concussion tent and take 10 minutes. Because I think that players are just taking the piss out of it to waste time.
With head injuries,
That's
Yeah.
why
where
they're
where they'll
stopping it, I
fall
think.
down,
They're
they
actually
notice
not-
they don't
they're
get the
actually
call,
not
and then
doing
they
it.
grab their head.
Mm.
What, Tom?
Next season, they're not doing the concussion subs. They're getting rid of it from next season.
Because they're doing
I believe it's because
Yeah,
of
but
what
that's
Ben
just-
just described.
That's just a sub. You've got to stop what's going on the pitch.
It's
Yeah.
the stopping of play. It's I have to stop play if they hold their head, and you'll see them fall down, not get a call, and then they hold their head, and you're
And
like,
then the
okay, well, now I
replay
have
shows
to.
the
Well,
replay shows that
let
he
me
got
ask
hit in the
let
knee.
me ask you all this.
replay shows them
is
looking
that going to be a
around.
situation where that could also be whistled for a simulation?
It should be.
You know, but can it be?
They
That's
don't
what
call
I'm
anything
asking.
there.
Can
That's
it
the
be?
thing of
They don't call
simulation
any
with head
simulation.
injury.
You know,
Proving
it's
it.
like
All
right
right,
now.
hold on.
the
We're getting
the
getting
concussion
heated here. Go
rule.
for it,
The
Mark.
concussion rule is a relatively new rule, is it not? It's like
Yes.
2
Yeah.
years,
2-3
year
years.
and a half. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the concussion rule has been brought forward. It's been done. You know, okay, this is what we need to recognize. But now we see players abusing it. So
Mhm.
will we see something similar to where they are like, all right, well, you by no means hit your head, and you're suggesting that you have a head injury to stop time, and that is just like a flop, just like a simulation foul or whatever.
Yeah.
Suddenly that the card comes out. Are we going to see
Gary?
that?
What do you think about that, Gary?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the fact that they don't call simulation at all is the problem. If they ever did, then players wouldn't do it. But like I said, if it's in the rules, then you need to call it. And if it's a head injury, the referee can stop the match anyways. I don't think it's something where they have to wait. They have to go, okay, it's a head injury. They have to actually put a rule in that says it's a head injury that stopped the game. If they feel like they need to stop it, they should. I believe they have the power to just stop it. Like most sports, the referee, the head referee, is the only one that can really say, you know what, I'm going to stop this game for the integrity and the safety of the players, right? And it shouldn't be an issue. So I think if you just implement the rules you have, you'll be fine. But they don't even do that. That's the problem. You've got all these rules, they don't implement them. So then they don't need to create new rules. They just need to implement the ones they got. All right.
Yeah, well, that's where it gets a little tricky with the reason we don't see yellow cards all the time for simulation is because it's one of these things that it's a judgment call a lot of times because a lot of times it'll look like clear simulation, and so they won't call the foul, they won't call the foul, and then you look back and it was a little toe kick on accident. It was maybe a foul. It wasn't really, or even if it wasn't a foul, it wasn't really simulation. So it's a harsh one, and they are not allowed to use VAR for yellow cards. So they wouldn't be able to change their mind, and VAR. So now we would have to add VAR to simulations and all that. But if you're really trying to get rid of that element of the game, it's VAR is going to be extended and extended and extended, and it's not just going to be offside and red card decisions. So, guys, while we're doing this format where I'm highlighting you guys, if you want to talk next, just let me know somehow, and I'll pop you up next. So nobody wants to talk. There you go, Gary. Thank you, sir.
I was just gonna say, like, the thing that they can do, I believe, and they should do, is if they're going to review a situation on the field and it was given a red and they want to take the red back because it wasn't a red and it was more simulation, that should be a yellow. Because you put a card out there and then you're pulling the card back, and you're like pulling the card back because guess what? It wasn't what the official on the field said it was, right?
So explain that one
Like
more
if-
time, because I think
Like,
I understood what you said. But
You make a tackle, it makes it seem like you studded them or something like that, and that player went down in a heap, rolling on the ground. Red card given. Go back, look at it. Not even close. Not even close. It was just a bad angle from the official. That should be a yellow.
I 100% agree. That should absolutely be a yellow card, especially if you saw it that bad that you sent this guy off. That guy should get a card if it's clear, looked at simulation.
I think it's absolutely crazy because, Gary, with your accent, I thought you said if a guy makes a taco.
Oh, sorry.
And I'm like, how is that a card?
You talk about banter and
How's that a
nonsense. There you
card?
go. Nonsense.
Tom, you got nothing to say about this?
No, I think you've all pretty much nailed it. I'm fine.
All right.
Refs
Ben
are
raised
shit.
his hand.
Refs are shit.
I just wanted
They're
to
the worst
welcome
they've ever
Italy
been.
Jet.
Yeah,
Welcome
they're the
back,
worst
Italy
they've
Jet. Let's
ever
see that
been.
fresh face. All right.
I like the tie.
No,
I like
the
the tie.
tie's working. It's all working, man.
There's some orange pill motherfucker in here before you, mate. I don't know where he went.
Listen,
Some orange pill.
He's kind of got an Ollie Watkins look going on.
I'm just trying to bring something fresh, every Friday. That's why I try.
Yes, sir. And we appreciate it.
where are you
So,
today?
guys-
You're not in the usual
I
place.
think he's in prison.
No, this is how I feel right now with the Jets and West Ham. There's nothing on my wall because this is how I feel. I feel nothing. That's how I feel. Unless something happens, it's going to continue to be blank.
Do you know West Ham have won more Conference League games than Premier League games?
Yes, Tom.
Damn.
It's
Yeah, let's
That's
be honest, that
interesting. Down the
Conference
road,
League's full of like League Two teams, isn't it? Let's be real.
No, I mean, in certain like the team that we just beat in their league, they're number 2 in their league, and they're in their like league playoff. They got their semifinal actually on Monday this past week, but their season's already over with. All they got is cups now. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, your Fortina's in there, So whatever.
Yeah. Just to address this comment by Kevin Jessup, he says red cards have been rescinded in the Premier League and changed to a yellow. Yes, but that's not what Gary was saying. Gary was actually saying if the attacking player, if it looks like there's a challenge on the attacking player and say the keeper gets a red card, and then they look at it and realize the keeper didn't touch him, it was simulation, that the red card should go away and the attacker should get a yellow for simulation. Because I know we do see, yellow cards away, but you still red cards away, but you still get a yellow.
And then that Thunder Road comment there is like, what if they can do that? Look at that. If they can do this,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
If they can do that, then they know. Then they can fix this really easy.
Yeah.
They can. If they just don't want to. Why would you do it in the female game and not in the men's game? Aren't they similar rules?
I have a huge problem with retroactive fouls.
No, but they've already set the precedents. They can do
Bamford do that against Villa. He went down,
Yeah.
got the player sent off, and then he got the ban.
No,
Yeah.
don't like it.
But that's actually
that's
correct,
exactly what
though,
happened.
Mark. That's a correct.
It is correct.
That's correct. It wasn't.
But in the same game, they failed
Sure.
to punish
Yes,
someone
it
for
is
punching Click.
correct for now. But at what point does that precedent get manipulated and, to where you're like, oh, well, we're going to make that retroactive just because, I mean, we're already seeing, refereeing being, and officiating being just kind of perverted. Ben, you said like last week, 2 weeks ago that this is we're seeing some of the worst officiating we've seen in years, or maybe as bad as it's ever been. If you're like now going to start introducing retroactive bans and retroactive, so like instead of like 5 minutes of watching it on VAR, now I have 4 or 5 days, and I can just analyze it. You know what?
They can only punish you for it if the referee missed it.
So we're going to throw a red card on that. I don't think that's good for football.
Yeah, they can only punish you for it if the referee missed it and it's not in his report. They can go back and look at it after the game then.
Yeah.
Go for it, Ben.
Yeah, so if the referee doesn't report on, let's say, he misses an elbow or something, it's not in his report, and then there's a panel that review the game on video after, anything that's punishable by a red card, let's say, or a ban or whatever, then they can then place that punishment.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually agree with what Mark is saying, surprisingly enough, because we've been butting heads all afternoon, evening, whatever time it is. But yeah, I do not think you could retroactively give red cards and things like that because we have VAR now. VAR should catch those on the day. It's like the PGMOL coming out saying that decision against Arsenal multiple times was wrong. We are admitting that we made a mistake and it's wrong. Does Arsenal get any points from that? No. So they would come out and say, we admit that was wrong. He should have got.
No, we did not. Stop that.
Excuse me.
Don't you dare.
You did get an extra 2 minutes on Saturday.
No, we did not.
That's not my opinion. That's not my opinion. You did.
Don't you
That's
dare.
not my opinion.
Don't you dare.
The match lasted.
You guys got Arteta time.
The match lasted 100 minutes.
You got Arteta time.
Don't you dare.
But they put up 6. I'm not even daring. It's just what happened. It's just what happened.
Okay.
That goal was that late that I thought it was a draw.
First of all, when the board goes up, it is always a minimum of that amount of time. It said a minimum of 6 minutes. They immediately fell on the floor and started rolling around, and the referee went up to them and said,
"Cut him out! I don't like any of this.
Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want.
Get him out of here. Here's guys out.
Man,
I'm sorry.
Here's something that I'd like to say.
I'm going to jetpack out of here. Jetpacking out of here.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say, it's like, look, if Arsenal was in need of the points and the team they were playing against were attacking in the same way, and you saw 5 to 6 minutes of stoppage time, just let me finish. If you saw 5 or 6 minutes of stoppage time, first of all, you would just be like, fuck, man, that's a lot of stoppage time. And then it goes on and on and on, and you're holding on to that one point. The point that you need, and maybe you need all 3. And then suddenly stoppage time is passed and it continues on, and they score to take all the points at the last minute. If the shoe was on the other foot, y'all would be pissed.
No, you know what? I don't.
Mark,
here we go. Reason why I don't believe that
because
let me finish. Let me say what I gotta say. I hate when our team, Arsenal team, decides they're going to waste time. I hate it. I don't like it at all. Guess what? As Lolo said, at the 90-minute mark, their goalkeeper went down on the ground, laid there 45 seconds plus. At the 90, he goes down.
Yeah,
45 seconds later,
the referee went up to him and said, I'm adding this on. Get up. I'm adding this on.
And not even my opinion. I'm just happy to tell you why you're factually all wrong. Okay. Next year, it's coming in about what happened during the World Cup with FIFA adding on time that was wasted during the games. However, that's officially coming in from next season. So what happened on Saturday was basically doing Arsenal a favour. They had no obligation to add on extra time to the 6 minutes, but they did. But they did. And that's not my opinion.
And
that's
Tom,
what happened. So
and
why
Tom,
would they say that there's a rule coming in for next season if they did it on Saturday? Whatever happened, whatever. You got
and it was only 1 minute added
you.
because we scored at 96:59. All right.
Well, it was still a minute more than you should have had then, wasn't it?
Look, the fact is,
It wasn't.
The minutes were added on. You scored, you won, and we're here where we're at now. So
yeah,
and the whistle was blown immediately after Arsenal scored. Immediately.
But
the minute
Cross
came in,
there was a kickoff.
And it was repelled. That's when the whistle should have been called. Y'all got Arteta time.
No, not when the ball is in. Not when the ball is in the box.
They weren't right. It
was outside the box.
Why would they make it a rule for next season if they then just did it last week anyway?
If it would have gone out for another corner, they would have let it go because that's the way stoppage time works. If you're in the middle of the pitch back passing, they blow the whistle. If you're in attack,
they didn't go.
I watched the match against Wolves where the ball went outside into the defense side and
we've been complaining
went
about
forward,
the time for all
they
season.
Still got time.
It's been an issue all season, Mr. Tom. An issue all season. This isn't something new. No. What was the game? They played like 47 minutes or something like that in the game of actual football time, right? This is not an issue that just happened last weekend, right? This is an issue that's been happening a lot. Everybody's been talking about how much football do they actually play. They don't even play an hour in most games. So it's not. It's an issue. And it's not an Arsenal situation.
I think Mark is still bitter. Mark is still bitter about when Wolves went up 1-0 on Arsenal in like the first 10 minutes and then started sitting down, time wasting for the rest of the match, and then went behind and needed more time.
Baby honey child looking like a matchstick. Anyway. I don't care about
I was confused, Mark. I was confused
don't
during
care
that.
Anymore.
During this
I move on, unlike you, who will talk about fucking David Luiz, who hasn't played for you for 2 years, going, well, you know, if that was David Luiz.
Mark, those who refuse to learn from the past are destined to repeat it.
Mark.
And for those that hold on to the past.
I'm not holding on, I'm learning.
Like you goddamn Arsenal fans.
Mark,
learning
can you clear
from
something up for me? Do you know during the last round of matches, you commented Wolves get no look at all or something along them lines, and then I seen the result and you won.
Oh man, we played terrible. We played terrible.
And I just thought, can we get no look at all?
Can he replace me with Mr. Tom? In his will, stand the man. The comment down there.
Everyone's
and Mark. By the way. Hold on. And just the baffling thing is Arsenal were given all this time. They were given, the ref wanted them to win. The ref himself filed a complaint for us celebrating that last minute goal.
All I really wanted was for Arsenal to take the referees, the fourth official and the on-field official, throw them in a trunk and drive them both to Bournemouth, much like Mexican cartel style, and go, hey man, we're really sorry. We didn't mean to win that way. Here's the guys that did it.
No, the guy that did it was Reese fucking Nelson, my friend.
I should have never gotten that chance. It should have never come down to that. Tom, I agree with you.
You guys are all haters. That's all it is.
Y'all used to call it Fergie time. Now you're calling it Arteta time.
And you know what? Those trophies stand. And you know what? When Manchester United goes into the locker room and then they bring everybody out and give them an extra penalty, 4 minutes.
Call him up right now. Make that call.
It was exactly like that.
Make that call.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Like
just
that.
go do
That's
it.
how I felt it was. Because I remembered that
exactly
match.
like
I'm not making an emotional call here. I'm just making a statement based on the facts of what happened.
Make that call.
Yeah, do it. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr.
All
Tom, watch it. Just take it like a man. Don't duck or anything. Don't put your hands up.
Wait, why are you trying to get me killed? Is this some
I'm
form
not.
of racism or something? Is
No.
this-
No,
I'm offended.
it was
I'm
like
offended.
as
I'm offended.
it was
Just-
just as
just
soon
'cause
as
you're
you
upset.
I love you, Tom. Nothing but
As
love.
soon as you
Upset,
mentioned that,
I'm calm.
It's just gonna be a love tap. It's a love
it was
tap.
You're
as
all
soon
get-
as you
you're
started
getting-
mentioning
Yeah.
that Arsenal hate, we had like 5 Arsenal fans pop up in the
Hey,
comments.
it's Paulie. I didn't know you was gonna call Paulie.
What?
Yeah.
All right, well, all you Arsenal fans that just recently popped up, how about going over and clicking that like button? How about clicking that join button?
Yeah.
Let us know
one
you're out
like
there.
equals
Tell us
one
we're all
slap for
wrong.
Tom.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
there we
we
go.
will
So, since there's already a bunch of shit coming out of his mouth, I believe it's about time that we check in with the crapper. It's about our halftime break coming up here, and so let's see who Mark has put in the crapper. And after that, we will be back with betting in the dark with
You
Mr.
jealous
Tom.
of you jealous of Brentford then?
Ooh, and then a bunch of
Ooh,
other shit
jealous of
coming up as
Brentford.
well. So, Director John, let's hear what Mark has to say and who is in the crapper.
Hey, yo, what's going on? Stoop Crew, Spawny Mark here with In the Crapper, that portion of the show where we are talking about that relegation battle with these teams that are playing like absolute shit and they're facing that dreaded drop. Last week we had Southampton, Bournemouth, and Everton, all kings of Turd Hill. And it looks like things have pretty much stayed the same way, but I gotta tell you, all three played really, really well last weekend. So let's take a look and see how they're piling up. At 20, we have Bournemouth. Here they are in last place, but I gotta tell you, they shouldn't be here. They caught Arsenal napping. One of the quickest goals I think that's ever been seen, scored on the weak side for that matter. I think it was scored in like 9 seconds. They take a 2-0 lead, and if it wasn't for a little Arteta time sprinkled on top of that stoppage time, Bournemouth might have walked away with a point. But they didn't. They dropped a 2-0 lead with about 20 some odd minutes left, and if it wasn't for some heroics on Arsenal's part, Bournemouth wouldn't be in this spot. We'd be talking about a different team. They get Liverpool next, so it's not going to get much easier for them. And so they are the table-wise the shittiest team in the league. At 19, we've got Southampton. This is a team that won. They collected 3 points. They beat Leicester with some pretty decent defense. They didn't allow Leicester a single shot on goal for the entire game. But I don't know if that says more about Leicester's offense, which is surprisingly bad this year, or just Southampton's defense is pretty decent, but they can't score goals either. So they are sitting at 19, and they have who do they have next? I think they have a very, very angry Man United next. Who knows? I don't. Coming in at 18, we have Everton. They played Nottingham Forest and drew them 2-2, I believe. It was a hell of a game and probably the most exciting game I saw all week. Real end-to-end stuff with both teams, but Everton lost that. Or no, they drew that one. I can't really say anything bad about them either. So much like I did 2 weeks ago with Chelsea, I have an honorary shitty team of the week. And that honorary shitty team of the week is none other than Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, despite the fact that they've held on to like the 11th or 12th spot for easily since Boxing Day, they have only managed one win since. And you want to talk about like Southampton's offense or Leicester's offense. Crystal Palace's offense has only scored 4 goals since the beginning of the year. Talk about putrid. It is that putrid smell that is filling the room. It's kind of like sulfur. It fills the room, and that makes Crystal Palace my shitty team, honorary shitty team of the week. So there you have it, regulation battle. Bournemouth, Southampton, Everton. They're sitting on the throne of shame, but I gotta tell you, they're not gonna be shouting "occupied" for too long. As Leeds United, West Ham, and aforementioned Leicester are all banging on that door, waiting to get in. I smell a change coming next week. In fact, what I smell really stinks. I'm out of here.
Marky Mark. You got it, John. I won't touch him. Mark, that was I don't appreciate the extra digs after I thought we just cleared everything.
Y'all walked into it, but I gotta, you know, I truly believe I watched it. In fact, just before Nelson scored, I text on our little chat, Arteta time, and Dirty Chris from Jersey, or Chris from Dirty Jersey, chimes in totally at the very moment that Arsenal scores their winner. Look, Mark, man, I'm just calling it as I see it. You don't, if you don't like it, that's fine. Mark. But I will say this: if the shoe was on the other foot and you were starving for those points, you would be complaining about that extra minute and a half, 2 minutes.
You don't believe me.
I agree.
I hate wasters. I hate wasters. How many games have we gone into where they waste time, and guess what? It backfires them every time.
Oh my God! I mean, Arsenal used to be one of the worst time wasters.
We don't. No, we are terrible at it.
What? Your head, no.
What are you talking about?
What I can go back 2 seasons ago.
Oh, wait, you told us not to go back. You told us not to go back. We're not allowed to go back. There's no reverse remote control.
Okay. Arsenal did all of us a favor, by the way.
Yeah, you guys should all be fucking happy we beat Bournemouth. Listen,
I'm happy.
Just do me a favor. Just do me a favor. This weekend, every match, take a note, 4 minutes of stoppage, and see how far they go. And anyone that goes over, I need you to call that Arteta time. Because every fucking team gets it. Because it's a minimum.
Last year you were calling it Fergie time.
No, it was Fergie time.
No, it's just referred to as Fergie time.
Yeah. I'm calling it Arteta time.
Fergie used to get 6 minutes over the allotted time.
Yeah,
I know.
And Man United still do.
It was a different format.
And Lolo brought up the greatest example of when a Man United game, was it against Spurs?
The thing about Fergie time was, right?
Whoever it was, but they blew the whistle, the players walk off, and then all of a sudden they were brought back on the field so that United could shoot a penalty.
Yeah.
It was one of the most ridiculous things. Now, I'm not saying Arsenal Bournemouth were anywhere near that egregious.
Hold on.
All I'm
you
just
said earlier that it was exactly the same thing.
No. I said it reminded me.
No,
it reminded me. You're the one that brought it up. It reminded you.
No, you yelled over us saying exactly the same. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm gonna. If I'm gonna be accused of steamrolling, I'm just gonna end my conversation right now and say, are we ready for Mr. Tom and betting in the dark?
I am.
That was cute, John.
I'm waiting for Mr. Tom to get slapped. What are the odds on that? I want the odds on
that. You're leaving me hanging. I won't ever high five you.
Betting in the dark with Mr. Tom.
Come on, love, place your bets.
Greetings, everyone. Wait, what? Oh, Oh, because director John is back, isn't he? From his trip to Transylvania. That's Romania. Excuse me. Right, going for a nice still palate cleanser. Right, first. Go Liverpool to win this nice, to use a Gary quote, nice and clean. A clean 3-0 win. Nunes first, Salah last. You can turn 1 into 125. 126.
I just still have no faith in Nunes scoring, even though they're playing better and he's playing. He scored some. I don't know if I should put money on it.
He scored 2 against United.
Well, I mean, I think Klopp scored one himself.
Do you think Salah's going to do it? Do you think he'll score?
I have a lot more faith in Salah.
He had an amazing match against United.
What about Gakpo?
Gakpo too, but we've been kind of like, I've commented a couple of times on Twitter and on the show that it was like, I remember when Salah, when he got the ball, if he was against your playing against your squad, you got afraid. If you saw him get the ball, you expected Salah to do something with it. And ever since the African Cup, he's been kind of quiet. But so in my mind, it was really cool to see him just like, because not only did he get 2 goals, but he had like 1 or 2 assists, right?
I'm not sure about the assists.
He got at least 1.
Yeah.
He got at least 1 assist. Because I think he assisted the Firmino goal.
I'm not sure. But no, and this is something I said when I was on, whose show was I on? Dave's LFC chats. And I told him way back when they were going through a terrible, terrible time. And I mean, they're just getting out of it. But I said, Liverpool will be fine. And Liverpool will probably still end up in the top 4 because everyone else is like, as well as you might think Manchester United are doing, as fucking boring as Tottenham are. Newcastle is not quite where they will be in the next few seasons. They've done really well, but we're seeing that you can't draw your way to a top 4. So it's still open for Liverpool. And then because they've always got this in them, and they've got Cody Gakpo there. Their team isn't really, yes, it's injury issues, but it's also they have new players that are trying to figure out. Cody Gakpo and Mo Salah and Nunez and all of those guys will learn to play with each other, and then it's going to be fucking dangerous. Another reason why Arsenal need to win the league this season. There's enough teams fucking up that next season Liverpool could be really good. United could be really good. City's going to be themselves. Tottenham's going to suck.
But you guys are playing the contractual game really smart. You're re-signing everybody before they can even begin to think about how much more money they can make somewhere else. But yeah, I would add that to what you said about Liverpool is that you got Jota back in the mix too.
Let's take that bet, Tom.
I like this bet. I took it.
It's just kind of a slap in the face. Like Bournemouth puts 2 goals up on the league leaders, but then gets smashed by Liverpool. It's like, yeah. Arsenal is no. I think if Arsenal win the league, they're going to be like clinging by it's going to be squeaky. It's already squeaky bum time. Like it's been squeaky bum time, but I think we're going to squeak by if we get it. It's not going to be a demolishing of the league. Anyway, good one, Mr. Tom. I liked it. Sparked a good debate or good talk.
Yeah, talk between you and Mark.
They don't let anybody else
show though. Everybody knows if they want to talk, they got to yell louder than me and Mark. I don't know what the problem is, right, Mark? Par for the course, right?
Like kidding. But I thought I'd throw that out there.
A lot of truth is said in jest, though, isn't it?
No, it is true. But then the truth is also, as I told Gary, and probably I don't think I ever explicitly told you, Tom, but as I tell guests that come on the show, this isn't a show where I'm going to say, now it's your turn to talk. Sometimes we do, as you can tell, but this is a show where if you want to talk,
You did that 20 minutes ago.
that's what I said.
Yeah.
I did do it a little bit because it was a good conversation, but we were all talking over each other.
Can we move on to the next bet?
No, Ben, no.
Right.
Ben has not talked any football, but he's done so much like stage managing for this show.
I'm just enjoying the ride tonight. It's quite entertaining.
I know. I hope you're having fun.
Right.
Me, Mark, and John are like fucking exhausted. Anyway, go ahead. Mute my mic, please.
There you go.
Right. So, going with a nice, simple Manchester City to win this, nice and professionally, nothing fancy. They're just going to turn up. They're going to get the result. The money is in if Foden scores first instead of Haaland scoring first, but also Haaland scoring last. De Bruyne to assist at least one of the 2 goals. Turn 1 into 165.
Do you think Mahrez comes on and scores a goal, maybe 2? Or are you pretty confident with Foden and Haaland?
I would
The
go
only
with
reason I've not gone with Mahrez is because for the last couple of weeks I've actually done Mahrez to come on and score last, and he hasn't. So I'm gonna we're gonna tempt fate because he probably will. Now you've said that, he probably will do that. But the point is, there's going to be a combination of like 2, 3, or 4 players that obviously could get this. But the reality is, we all know it's very unlikely that Crystal Palace are getting anything from this. Their form is definitely trending backwards.
Yeah.
Everyone had them nailed on to be safe, and then their form, they're not.
Yeah. Yeah, I highlighted in the video for the bio break about Crystal Palace being like a really shitty team right now. They don't score.
Yeah.
And they don't get it. Because they have people that can is Zaha hurt? I haven't watched Crystal Palace in a while, so I don't know.
No, I don't think he's hurt.
But Zaha,
I don't remember him being hurt.
He's always someone to score. IU.
Yeah.
They have players.
Edward, yeah, from Celtic. And he hasn't been doing much either.
Just saw a tweet in the match tomorrow. Bournemouth and Liverpool will not interview with BBC pre and post match. So,
wait, who?
Bournemouth and Liverpool, they will not be talking to.
So
BBC.
the 7:30 match, the 7:30 Eastern time match.
There's no host. No, there's no host tomorrow. They're literally just showing the football.
They're just showing the football. No commentary. No pundits. No presenter. Just the football.
No analysis.
Can they do that for the Chelsea game?
Hopefully. No, I think just generally in the whole there's basically no host, because as I wrote in the comment section and Lolo alluded to it, it was basically a poison chalice, because in my opinion,
that was your comment. That was
because I know Lolo don't want to get political, and that's fine. This ain't really a political opinion, but I think just for if you pay attention to a lot of things that was said about it, a lot of comments were along the lines of, "Oh, I don't want to be the one that actually is sitting in that chair tomorrow night," because you're although it doesn't necessarily, it's not actually true, but the optics of it is, if Gary Lineker ain't going to sit there, and Ian Wright ain't going to sit there, and Alan Shearer ain't going to sit there because they're backing Gary Lineker over what he said, but you're willing to sit there, you're basically then backing the opposite of what he said.
Yeah,
that's not actually true. That's not actually true, but in the eyes of people, it's like, well, you don't have a problem with what Lineker has a problem with, and no one was prepared to do that. Rightly or wrongly, that's why
could this be a permanent thing with BBC for a while?
This is why
before
I
and
was
after
going to say.
the game?
The thing is, it could be really interesting, because if the show actually goes well tomorrow night, in terms of, you know what, I actually quite like watching football without having to watch all the fluff around it. Could put a few people out of work.
That's what I was thinking too.
I think what we're seeing like, you know, who actually has influence over the media. At least as far as like a US sports fan, I was completely angry with LeBron James and the fact that he had no comment on Brittany Griner detainment in Russia. Like, he could have snapped his fingers and made something happen. He's one of the most powerful sports figures in the world, and he even when pressed, he was like, "Yeah, I got
Was
nothing
that
to say."
Russia or China?
Russia.
In Russia.
It was Russia. Yeah.
Well, he didn't talk about China either because he was taking the money, right? So,
well, that's because like the NBA has a huge television contract in China, and they would just rescind it because I'm sure there's all that fine print, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have one more.
Okay. Oh yeah, I've got
We
to
didn't really
close
discuss this bet.
put your hands over your glasses. Oh, sorry, Ben. What do you think of this?
I like this bet.
Thank you.
It's got a touch of risk to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It has.
I feel like there's going to be more goals than that. But that's the scary part. I really don't.
Yeah.
We expected City to actually click at some point. We don't know.
Yeah.
We could be in the middle of that. We could be in the beginning of that. And if that's the case, you know, hold on.
Well, I dare say that the more goals you pick, the higher your odds, Gary. So,
my question is for Crystal Palace, since it's at home, they don't do shit at home, right?
they're not the force they were last season.
They don't score right now. That's
not really a thing.
4 goals since the new year.
They
4
are
goals.
better at home, but not right now. They're not.
They've scored 7 goals on Man City since last season.
I mean, like, do they make it competitive at home? I don't think they do. But I
don't think
so.
They're more competitive. No, they're more competitive.
Okay.
Which is why they're 2-0 instead of 4-0.
Okay.
Like, I think if they sit back a bit, they'll get beat. But I don't think it'll be. Don't get me wrong. I could say this, and tomorrow Man City could go and win this 4-0 really comfortably. But
yeah.
2-0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, the one thing that gets me here is Crystal Palace for the past 3 seasons has been this little mini bogey team for City, where let's go back like 3 years ago, City won 5-0, and then when they played Palace again that season, it was 0-0. The next season they won 5-0. And then when they played him again, 0-0. Yeah. Last season, City beat them 3-1. Palace beat them 3-2. So City has already done their win this season. They won 2-0. They'll probably do it again. I'm just saying, there's this weird, like, maybe throw a 0-0 in there, a 0-0 bet.
In the last time, they're the worst team. They're
City
one of the worst
top
teams
of the form table, and Palace are bottom of the form table.
I know, but bogey
just
teams are bogey teams. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to agree with you, Lolo, on this one because I do believe that Crystal Palace last 4 home games have all been draws.
Yeah, are Palace at home?
That's something to be
Palace
said.
at home.
Yeah, they're at home.
Palace is at home.
Even the years, there's 2 seasons in a row where City beat them 5-0 at home, and then when Palace was at home, 0-0. So
Palace
I'm just saying, maybe throw a cheeky 0-0 bet.
Palace have amounted 17 points at home this season.
Yeah.
And
I actually, if I had an extra buck to, I would throw $1 on a 0-0 draw or some sort of
let's
tie.
do it. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Let me see. 10 points away and 17 points at home.
0-0 is plus 1,300, so $1 will win you.
That's $13. $13.
$13.
I'll do that right now.
Well, I put $1.27, so it's like $17.
That's your thing.
It helps when I win. Anyway, once again, Mr. Tom, very good little debatable bet there, but I like it. I'm taking that bet And I'm also doing a side 1-0. Oh wait, no. What's it called, Gary?
0-0.
It's a 0-0.
It's a 0-0.
The hottest soft drink that's hitting the teens.
Who came up with that?
Gary special.
0-0. Was that Mark?
Gary, it's his
It was
product line.
no. I'm going to give it to Gary, but I'm running with it.
No,
I'm actually
it's out there.
developing a logo. I'm going to make T-shirts, and
Mark,
if y'all
put 'em on
want
the
a
website.
0-0 T-shirt, post something and we'll talk because
Dude,
this
I
is
could-
happening.
I could put it on. I could
This is
design it
happening.
while
Like
we're
me
talking.
coming
and
home at
put it
3
on the
a.m.
website while we're on live. Okay, keep talking. By the end of this, you'll be able to purchase a 0-0.
0-0. So yeah, we got it. Come on.
All right, Tom.
Okay. Right. My actual true thoughts on this is that I think the game will actually be 0-0 or 1-1. But there's no money to be made on that. And I know these guys like to see big numbers. So we're going with Newcastle 3-2. Sorry, Mark. Going with Almiron to score any time. And Kieran Trippier to do the beautiful tactical fouls that he's accustomed to on the halfway line. Putting himself in the book and putting me in the money.
Well, as the resident Wolves fan, I can tell you one thing and maybe two things. First of all, we can't bet on cards in the States. I would love that. I would love that. And actually, in this game, to be perfectly honest, not Kieran Trippier, but Ruben Neves, who is, while he's a daring tackler, he's not a very good one, and he will get a yellow, which will unfortunately suspend him for 2 games. Newcastle, no, they're not scoring 3. They haven't done fuck all since the first of the year. Since they played Arsenal, they can't score to save their lives. I don't think against Wolves that's going to change. You know, they're actually in pretty poor form.
First thing I said was, I don't think either of you are going to score, but there's no fucking money in neither of you scoring.
No, that's very true. That was very true. Yeah, no. I even if I wasn't a Wolves fan, I can't take this bet. I love the odds. I would love to. Everything you've done so far has been like totally solid.
I'm telling. The only thing that goes in the favour of this game having goals is that it's in the coveted 4:30 Sunday spot, the spot that gives you goals. We got 7 last week.
I will say this for the last 3 weeks, you have been like won the money on that one. But I think this might be the anomaly. I think this might be the match that, I mean, at best, I
initially did 1-1 with Trippier card and the player you mentioned card, the Wolves player, Neves.
Ruben Neves.
Yeah. Did both of them to be carded, 1-1 draw, and I was embarrassed to even submit it as a payout. But that's what I think will actually happen. But we're just going to stick with this, and if it wins, then I'm going to gloat about it, and if it don't, we'll forget it ever happened. So, like we do every Sunday.
I'm going 1-0 to the team who has the worst logo in all of the Premier League.
That's a bit harsh on Bournemouth.
You think Bournemouth has the worst logo? Fuck me. I thought it was the Wolves.
I
mean, it's very symmetrical. It's very like 60s, 70s, even though the team's been around for like 100 years before that.
I think John should be praised because Director John has managed to sneak a Saudi flag onto the Newcastle.
It's as if the soccer, the football is hair conditioner.
Is this like blow dryer? To be David Beckham back in the day?
Because I'm worth
doing
it.
This type of headball or something.
Well, I'll tell 2 friends, and you can tell 2 friends.
But yeah, that is betting in the dark with Mr. Tom and my buddy Cyril.
Night, Cyril.
Good night, Cyril.
Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
Right.
Night, Gary.
Good night, Cyril.
Like, good night,
Cyril's
John
your
Boy.
mate. Why are you not? Yeah.
See you later, buddy.
Good night.
Yeah, he does like you. I don't know why he was last. Anyway,
sorry.
Was too quiet.
I think it's
Well,
blood.
that was an
It
eventful.
they do look like socks in ruby slippers, but I think it's grey shoes in blood. I was looking at that and thinking,
that's a little scary.
Yeah, nobody noticed that. Well, obviously somebody did, but if you look underneath
I
Mr.
did.
Tom, okay, there you go. There's the ruby red slippers.
Yeah,
Because
Oh,
That's
Jesus
hilarious.
Christ. Oh, no. Why did you... No, come on.
Because there's no place like home edition of betting in the dark.
You know what happens in the dungeon stays in the dungeon, John.
No, whatever.
Well,
I'm just going by there's no place
I'll see
like
what
home.
I can get.
I think he touched the nerve, John. I think there's a pair of red slippers in that
Somewhere
dungeon.
in his dungeon. Oh, geez.
I've been exposed.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's nothing
Not
wrong
that
with it.
There's
I mean,
anything
No,
wrong with
George. Nothing wrong with that, George. I know
Move
what's
on.
Seinfeld.
Moving on.
Next up.
Those sex toys are remarkable nowadays. Bless you,
Oh,
Cyril. Nah.
All right. What are we up to now, fellas? What do you guys
Talk
sorry,
about the draft.
I'm making the 0-0 logo.
0-0 logo.
Oh.
I'll try and upset the Arsenal fans more.
Sure.
Nah.
Why do you even have their
Well, I
name?
didn't-
Say that team. They don't even get a
Bottom
name.
half.
You want me to leave that up or no?
Okay.
Okay.
Do a lockdown and just end the season again.
So where do y'all find the kind of like the divisions in the standings?
Well, there's like
Where it's like,
12
okay, this
teams
is
within
definitely second
9
tier
points.
group. This is third tier group. There's no way that like this team can catch so and so. I mean, shit. Second and third, the Manchesters. I mean, that's what's that? 11 points, 9 points, 9 points between the two. Is it
with a game in
is
hand.
it possible that Man United's going to catch City, let alone Arsenal?
I don't
I
think
mean,
there's
any
still
of us see
13
it.
matches left, so
Absolutely,
really
but
anything
do
can
you
happen,
really think they're gonna make up that gap between second and third, let alone first?
I don't think so, but I think Manchester United can start to feel a little bit comfortable, or not comfortable, but a little bit positive, forward thinking about they're definitely going to be top 4. Not that they are definitely going to be top 4, but I think they have a solid grip on that third place right now, especially if they can win their game in hand.
Right.
I don't know who it's against, but
So Lolo, you were talking about how you think Liverpool is going to make it top 4, right?
yeah.
So what do you think about Tottenham and Newcastle is going to get that 5th spot?
The 5th spot.
Yeah, the 5th spot. Yeah.
I think Newcastle. Spurs are having some. Their play when they were winning wasn't impressive, and with them not being, with them kind of drawing and winning maybe 1-0, it's still I don't know, something's wrong over at Tottenham, and they're winning more without their manager there, but he's gonna come back because he was just sick. I don't know. I feel like Newcastle. This is more of a blip for Newcastle.
You could also look at Brighton. I mean, they've got 3 games in hand, and they're only only 4 points outside of
right.
Oh, really?
This graphic doesn't show the fact that Fulham, Brentford, and
it's a little different
Brighton.
Brighton,
they're looking. They're
Fulham,
lurking.
And Brentford.
They could, cause some damage. I don't know what to expect, honestly, between Arsenal and Fulham.
How does Brighton only play 23 matches?
A lot of cancellation.
Yeah,
Something
dark side.
But no one else in the league has. So it has. It means multiple teams have game in hand. They have games that they need to play against Brighton.
Yeah, game in hands will play in the relegation battle.
Yeah, Brighton plays. They still have a game against United at home, which hasn't been
outside of Everton
yet. They have a game on the road at St. James Park. So those are two matches they haven't even scheduled yet. So those games are important to that top six. Both of their games are crucial. Those are good games for them. They win those, they move up. So yeah. Good for them.
Yeah. Just to jump on that Thunder Road. Yeah, I agree with that. The people in the US who understand relegation embrace it. And for American sports, sorry guys, but I was following this conversation. Jimmy said it must be really difficult for Americans to understand a league that has relegation, and Thunder Road said not really. Many of us embrace it and wish our sports had some type of relegation. I think it'd be cool as hell.
I do. MLS.
They should have done it.
I know there's just no
structure. It's never going to happen though. They're adding more competitions though for MLS, but
the only issue with that is that the league has been going on for about 150 years in England, and they've been able to establish 100, 150, 200 teams. I mean, how many teams can you honestly think can be supported in the United States?
But there's at least
where
two
you
or
can
three
have
leagues right now,
where you can have a relegation battle.
There's 2 or 3 leagues right now, so it could be done.
How many teams is it each league?
But they
wait. What sport are you guys talking about?
It should be every sport.
Talking about football, like
soccer, American,
American football, not American football. But the relegation battle is a really great idea.
I think
what
hockey
I'm saying is that in the way that the system is set up in the States is there's not nearly the teams to make relegation possible.
But when you're building a league,
just
hockey
could do that.
Like my cousin played hockey.
Canadian league and there's a U.S. league. And there's too
many minor hockey leagues.
Sure,
but that's what I'm saying. Those
baseball could also do it with single A, double A, triple A.
Right, yeah.
But there's no system in like the real like seriously NFL and NBA, which are the reign supreme of American sports. I mean, there's the Continental Basketball League, NBA, that has never taken off because the NBA is like damn certain that they will starve that off if they ever got big. USFL in the States against NFL, maybe Canada, the Canadian League, or the XFL, but they all play by different rules. So that's not going to work either.
Right.
But to be perfectly honest, whoever mentioned that about relegation, I can say this. Ever since that I've been aware that existed in Premier League soccer and in other leagues, I wish that we had that here. We just haven't set up the system to make that happen.
I don't think they would agree to that.
There's too much money involved in this already.
MLS they should, but other sports I disagree. I don't want that to happen. I like it the way it is. But
I would love to see that in baseball.
MLS, yes. I disagree. I don't want that in baseball.
I think in American football, I would love to see that instead of teams tanking at the end of the season to get the top draft pick.
So, like Alabama should be in NFL.
Well, you can't
like in the 90s, the University of Miami. Imagine
you can't put a college team in the professionals.
We have 15-year-olds playing Premier League football. If they're good enough, they're fucking good enough.
Yeah, it's not the
and
same.
the coaches of the
There's
college
a lot more
make
contact
more money than the NFL coaches.
It's not the same at all. That's not the same at all. Not even close.
A lot more
man.
contact.
Imagine like some
contact.
some 15-year-old running back that gets crushed.
Yeah.
And he would just but
15-yearld Barry Sanders was still Barry Sanders.
And then T.O. is still playing, and he's playing in arena football.
Oh, piss off, T.O.
It's hilarious.
Jesus Christ.
Ain't
What
that
a poor
something, though?
excuse
Ain't
for a
that something,
football
though?
player.
That's something, though.
I think I'm good, therefore I'm the best in the league.
Did you guys hear last season or last year the NCAA soccer in the States? I believe I may be getting this wrong, but I believe at the college level, you are no longer from college down. You're no longer allowed to head the ball in soccer. You can't use your head for concussion reasons. I think it's at least high school down, but I'm pretty sure it was college down. And to me, I was like, okay, cool. So now we're never winning the World Cup because in 8 years, 10, 12 years, we're going to have football players who have never headed the ball.
Yeah, but our best players are going overseas in the academy, so I don't think that's necessarily that true. Maybe look at all those players that we have. A lot
John,
of
shut up.
going overseas. So
we're gonna be.
What
fine.
did John say?
No, I put this comment up.
Yeah, they need to fuck off. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Conche.
What the Browns have done. Come on.
But the Browns shouldn't have been in the NFL anymore. Alabama should have been, or Miami. You don't think Alabama?
They don't want to take that pay
teams?
cut, man. They don't want to take that pay cut and go play for the Browns. Come on.
I don't think that.
No. They go down and they go.
Don't think college.
It's not like I know you were at Alabama University, but now you have to go to Cleveland.
It's like no.
Hold on. How about this? So you have college teams. They're great. They achieve the national championship. They do whatever. What if, because it all kind of coincides around the same time, what if you push back the bowl season for college and made national champions compete in the playoffs in the NFL? So LSU wins the national championship, Ohio State, Michigan, whoever wins the championship, and then they are given a bye spot or a wild card spot in the NFL.
They're not going to play in that. You know why? Because if you're a first round pick, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you're like a first round pick, you're not playing in that game.
No, yeah. If you get injured, your stock automatically falls.
You're not playing in that
it's
game.
worse than being injured.
I get it, and that's been one of the worst things.
Out of your depth.
Oh
There's
my
no
god!
way.
That
If
would
you're
be an
exposed, 'cause out of your
amazing.
depth.
That would be an amazing fucking football game.
Well,
I
Bring
would
it back
watch
to
that. You know what? And I would want everyone, and I think all those
okay, we're
kids
good.
would want to. They would, because
not
they
playing in
do
that
it.
game.
They do it every year. The pros do it every year. The college kids do it every year. They're up and they're proving themselves one way or the other. And you know what? Risk injury. Man, they
playing
roll
in
the
that
dice,
No,
and
they're not risking it.
those.
No, you're not taking that risk. If you
Could
got, if
you
got,
imagine
no, it's not going to
the
happen.
NFL draft stock on a player that shined against an NFL team?
I even have to do that to
Like
get that.
if you fucking
You don't have to
burn
play
someone,
now.
you got
Why would you want to play later?
200 yards on fucking Sauce
Gardner?
whatever the fuck his name
Saucepan.
is, Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner,
It
yeah.
was supposed to be the next you know, the
Reeves?
yeah, he's supposed to be the next Reeves, you know? But can you imagine if college kids matched up against him and fucking just drove it?
No.
You talk about the downside, I'm talking about the upside.
No, it's
Well,
not gonna
let
happen.
me
not
cut
gonna
you
happen.
guys off for a second because we were just goofing on the Jets a little bit. Let's dig into Gary's team.
And now we look at our 10-day forecast. It's looking a little bit like those Dallas Cowboys, is peaking in the 90s.
And
You know what? You know what? All your teams never peaked like the Cowboys in the 90s. So stop it. Stop it.
Oh my God, you're wishing for the Cowboys in the
Haters,
90s.
got all these haters out
I
there.
hate the Cowboys. I'm sorry, Gary, with all my heart.
That's my
So
team.
let me ask you a serious
Okay,
serious
go for
question, okay? Serious question.
Sorry, Gary.
How many points
I love it.
would the Harlem Globetrotters have
I
to
love
win by to get
Against the-
invited to the playoffs of the NBA against
the
the Washington
Generals?
Generals? Yeah,
Against the
like
Generals?
if they hit 200, if they beat them by 200, it's like okay, automatic. You are now in the NBA. Like, what do they have to do to get in the NBA?
I think
I'm
there
sure
has
we
to
get
be
destroyed in
a
the NBA.
cross amount or an amount equal to the
Well,
amount of people in the arena.
You can't
to
do the water
confetti.
trick. You can't do the water
To
bucket trick.
confetti. So
Well,
they have
if
to like
VAR
they have
doesn't
to
see it-
blow off.
Well, you guys are looking at
you know,
at
50, 60 pounds of confetti.
That's an all-star game, and guess what? There's no
Yeah.
defense in an all-star game, so
Right.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Once
that's
again,
not gonna
no.
happen.
Let's move
Exactly.
on. Nonsense.
There
This is
you
we're talking about nonsense so far. That's nonsense number 2 in American sports. That's you want
Be honest, to be honest, Gary, the biggest nonsense you could talk is the Harlem Globetrotters. Like
Facts.
seriously,
Facts,
like
facts.
how many of us in the States saw the Harlem Globetrotters?
Whoa, Thunder, what are you
before
doing?
we were 10.
My team too. You
I
guys don't
saw
have
them.
me.
And
Everybody
I saw the Harlem
Globetrotters.
Globetrotters.
Come on.
I
Yeah.
saw Curly Neal. I saw
Meadowlark Lemon.
I got bored and left.
Sure.
You're
I
a
got
racist.
bored
Why
and left.
not? You know, but
Got bored and left. Sorry.
You know, that was strange and weird entertainment, and that was
Underrated, yeah.
entertainment before the All-Star game.
It wasn't my
So like
speed.
now we're
Wasn't my
paying
speed.
attention to the All-Star game where it's like, oh, it's the 3-point competition. Yay!
Yeah, but
It's
All-Star
the dunk
All-Star games are
competition.
horrible now.
Yay! How about the skill test? Anyone wanted? Okay, cool. We got 5 guys. The skill test competition. Yay!
All-Star game should start
Okay,
the season.
Okay, Mr. Tom, should the Premier League have an All-Star game?
I think if it does, it needs to be at the start or the end of the season. Not none of this mid-season break
Yeah.
bullshit. Because I think that's part of the problem in your sports is that it's happening at a time of the season where people are just like, we want to get on with the season.
Well, they didn't want to compete with the Super Bowl, so they pushed it out. So now it's
Yeah.
closer to the end of the season. So it's
Right.
like, what are you
I love
doing? Either play it
Right.
when it's supposed to be played, so the players actually play in the middle of the season. No, not in the playoff run. Now we're gonna have a 5 days off,
Like a
to go.
break, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a break, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
ridiculous.
competitive, though.
No,
I
it's
think
not. It's
that's-
all entertainment.
It's just building your stats.
Who was
That's
the
all it is, just building your stats.
the Islander goaltender during an All-Star game? He was mic'd up. It was like la la la.
Yeah.
And he got injured. Rick DiPietro.
Yeah.
I
Did
thought
the
you were
Islanders
talking about
sign
the
him?
Islander bartender.
Yeah, that too. But they signed him like to like a 20-year like some ridiculous contract.
Yeah.
And during the All-Star game, it was friendly competition, but he pulled a hamstring, whatever he did. He just knocked himself. He hasn't played since.
Right. The idea of an All-Star game is better than an All-Star game. On paper, it's a great idea because you get all your star names and like basically it's like playing out a video game in real life. Like you draft your players or whatever. But the reality of it is that because you're playing it in mid-season as well, no one wants to get hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
And they've got nothing. To prove because they're proving
right.
it on a weekly basis. So
it just
thank you so much, Anders, for that super sticker. We super appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for that.
It's like
just
wanted to take
someone's been at the beach.
That translates to $8 million.
Cool.
It does.
Oh,
it does.
If anybody out there has $8 million to donate to On the Stoop, we could do.
Don't do it through YouTube. Don't do it through YouTube. Just send it.
Good with that kind of donation.
$3.5 million of that is going to them.
Lolo's like, I got my bank details: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then my account number.
We all better get a cut.
If you're on that show, you'll get a cut.
There you go.
Less than YouTube though, because they take like 40%. Sorry, Italy Jet, you were saying, but Anders, yes, thank you for just supporting the show all the time, but appreciate that super sticker.
I agree with Tom though. It's just build your stats. No one really cares anymore. They tried to make things better, all the All-Star games everywhere, and it just doesn't. It's so stupid. Flag football for an All-Star game? What the hell is that? I could do that on a Saturday morning.
Well, at some point, I have a feeling I would like to see this anyways, that when there's an international break, players just don't go.
Yeah, go on vacation or something.
They don't need friendlies in the middle of a season. They don't. Right? I mean, I just don't get how you can say I have putting 5 to 10 million pounds on a player, but I'm going to send them away 2-3 times a season where they can injure themselves and then be like, all right, that's okay. They're going for free at that point. I mean, and then my season's ruined by it, right? What's the point of that? I mean, there's so much money in the Premier League. Why would you want to? Nah, come on. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
That's symptomatic of the money in football.
Okay, so what if we did WAG All-Star game? So you pick the All-Stars.
Wives and girlfriends?
The wives and girlfriends of those players have to play in that position.
Well, then, who's that Aston Villa guy from?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, she would fuck people up.
Exactly.
Though.
So
she's actually good.
She would win. She would win the whole. Yeah, she would win the whole thing.
What's her name? Lamont.
No, I forgot. Is it Diaz? That's his name. Louise, right?
Yes, Louise is with the bird. Villa, right?
But they're not together anymore because she.
Oh, really?
Because she did the pictures and he wasn't. He told her if you do another picture, it's over. She's
wow.
But
no, I thought it was when he didn't go to Arsenal. She was like, idiot.
Like, if we weren't gonna
no
do
ambition.
a Pro Bowl or a pro game or an All-Star game for Premier League, what about a skills challenge?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, would people be excited about that? Like,
you know what? There's no time. This season as long as it is, and then the summers is supposed to be for international play.
You know what? It is not that long of a season.
Yes,
because they have so many fucking breaks. They have so many games. They have so many games that are postponed because whoever's in the European League and whoever's in the Champions League. Come on.
But
everyone gets a break at some time or other, and it all evens out.
They don't want to play that. They want to take their money.
But like, you know, what if it was for charity or something like that? Would that be not something that would be kind of cool to watch?
They play enough football as it is.
Yeah, they play.
Are we a 501c charity that they can play for us?
I'll make it happen.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
We hear it on the Stupid Lolo.
I think you're
Are
forgetting the
non-for-profit,
one thing, though.
in that we don't make any profit.
Obviously, we're not for profit, except for the $8 million that Anders just sent us.
No, here's the thing.
If anybody that is still watching the show right now wants to show that we are for profit, give us some money, motherfuckers.
I worked for a few different non-for-profits, and then I did a documentary about non-for-profits, 501c3s, and the good ones all make a hell of a lot of profit. You just are not for profit. That is not your main goal, but you need money. So you got like the head of the Red Cross who makes like 10 mil a year.
Right.
And you're like, that's not cool. And those are donations that they make. So
yeah.
Anyway, I want to go back to this women and girlfriends all-star match. I think it's a good idea. And then if you have a gay athlete, you're like, I'm sorry, I'm dating Casemiro. Like, he gets to play, because it could happen. It could happen.
I would like to see Shakira. If it was a PQ, I would love to see that.
He's not dating her anymore. So
I know. Oh, I know. But that would be funny.
She just got to start dating a Premier League player. But that would be awesome if all of a sudden Shakira is playing goalkeeper. Because she's dating Emmy Martinez or something. Emmy Martinez is probably dating like
porn stars.
Crazy lady. Yeah. She's got to be fucking crazy.
I mean, James Rodriguez.
Was he dating somebody?
Oh, he dates.
Who is he again?
James Rodriguez. James Rodriguez played for Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. No.
And Everton. Don't forget that big club.
I don't care. But anyways, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, man.
What happened to Ben?
I don't know.
He was making a cup of tea.
I mean, it doesn't take that long.
He was making a toasty.
Unless he went to India for the tea.
You don't know his trips that he goes on.
I think they don't deal with tea when he's going on those trips.
Yeah. I would like to see professional athletes play other sports. Like I would really love to see like a 5-on-5 basketball game, but of guys in like the Premier League who actually like playing basketball. I would like to see those skills translated, the physiques translated, and see who would do well. And I would like to see Adama Traore play running back.
No. I could think it'd be about football, but basketball. I mean, who are you gonna have? Like Chris Wood, Longstaff,
Muggsy fucking Bogues, man. Muggsy
Bogues. Yeah, he's my favorite. Shout out on it.
There are
Bo Jackson.
Muggsy Bogues.
Bo knows.
I had a 6-foot poster of Bo Jackson in all the different he was baseball, football, surfing, rock climbing, all these different outfits.
Did you not have a 2-foot poster of Muggsy Bogues?
No. I had.
No, actually,
Muggsy
that was
Bogues
a trading card.
I'm short. Well, in El Paso, Muggsy Bogues was a big. We followed him because we're all like mostly Mexicans there, and we're like, that 5-foot dude could do it. We got this. We could do anything. I'm like 5'3", man. I got this. It's true.
I mean, I do think you're thinking
it fucking worked out. Well, no, I stopped. The problem with me is I got a complex that I thought I was a really big dude because I hit my growth spurt before everybody else, and I was like 5'6", while other guys were just breaking 5 foot. And I was like, yeah. And then everyone grew, and I didn't go any taller than that. And then I became this little guy, and I was like, I used to be bigger than you.
Right.
Fuck.
That's a story of my life.
I guess I better be funny.
I was always funny, but yeah. Funny looking.
Yeah. It just means you're different. It means you're different. It's all good to be different.
Where'd Tom go?
No. It coincided with my hatred of running very much. So it's like, they were all getting better and better at sports, and I was like, "Yeah, you guys got this now. You got it. You guys."
I'll hang out with the cheerleaders.
I'm gonna go.
Right?
Lolo became a bowler.
I am actually a decent bowler, and
Me
I play
too.
pool, darts, all these ones where you don't have to run.
I love it.
I'm very good at all those
with
things.
the Jesus.
I love it.
Just the other day, don't play cornhole very much, but there was a cornhole thing.
Yeah.
Picked them up, did great. I was at my grandpa's at the horseshoe. We have old school horseshoe pits and horseshoes hanging on the walls.
May I ask what cornhole
I
is?
was getting leaners and ringers.
Awesome.
Bing, bing.
Can I ask what cornhole is?
So Ben, cornhole is you have a
It's
field.
beanbag toss. That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
Beanbag, yeah, cool.
Kind of like bocce. It's an old
bocce
Italian
ball,
game.
yeah.
No,
it's
it's
a wooden,
nothing like bocce.
It's a wooden thing with
It's
3
a
holes
little
in it.
bit.
You try
It's a
and throw
little
the
bit,
beanbag in it.
It's like curling, bocce. You're trying to
You
get to the
just throw
middle.
a bag in a hole. You're trying to throw a bag in a hole. That's it.
It's basically drinking while you're playing a game.
Yeah, and it works perfect. And the Mexican version of that is called washas, which is where you get a cup and you bury it in the ground, and then you get the biggest washers that you're working with that day. You know what a washer is? Like this metal circle flat disc, and you throw it and try and get it in the hole. And you get a duck, because if you hit it perfectly in the hole, it goes whack and sounds like a quack. And so they go, I got a quack. I got a quack. I got a duck.
Now the game
washas
is actually
because that's how they say washers.
The game is actually called like watch this. It's called watch this, man. Watch this, man. Part of the evening.
Very fun.
Well, I have a question about you, Mr. Tom. Where can people see you?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I can be found in a variety of places, but more specifically, I can be found on Wednesday nights live on the YouTube at the Full Nelson podcast, where I'll be wearing really cool items and displaying super cool action figures that were donated by Latino viewers of the show, naming no names, BxGunner. And it's a great time had by all.
You're up to what? Like your 5th episode? 6th?
It'll be 9 next week.
Wow. Good for you. Cool. Gary?
Yes, sir.
I think you have something going on too, don't you?
Yeah. So you can watch the trip and the road trip Saturdays and Mondays. There you go. Tomorrow, actually, I have a family obligation, so I probably won't have a show tomorrow. Sorry about that. But check us out on Saturdays around it's 4 o'clock.
What's
4 p.m. UK time.
Don't forget you're in the car rounds.
And then on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. on the East Coast, 12:30 a.m. on across the pond, you'll see me, Mr. Tom, and other friends chatting it up about Arsenal and then whatever nonsense Mr. Tom wants to bring to the show.
Cool. In Italy, Jet?
You can find me on my 3rd Darkness retreat. That's what's going on for the 3rd time. No, you can find me on Let's Talk Sports, all kinds of New York Jets content. Also, the NRI, we just interviewed Super Bowl champion Rashad Breeland, quarterback, and we're working on getting Lawrence Taylor for the show.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, we just did. My company just did a signing at a bar in New Jersey. And they got a great relationship, so that's going to be awesome. So stay tuned, and wait on Aaron Rodgers.
May I ask what NR stands for?
Can you ask him about that story? Did the Eagles actually get a hooker in a hotel room to handcuff him to a bed so he wouldn't play against them?
Which
did you ever hear it with Lawrence Taylor? Did you ever hear that story?
I remember hearing about it, and one point I think I've seen it, but it's not ringing a bell right now. But the NR Hour, so he is from India, and it's a very long last name, very long first name, and that's why He abbreviated it NR.
I guess that might be a touchy situation talking about
It's all good. He doesn't care.
What does
But
the
yeah,
NR
Talk to
mean?
him off camera about that.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much me.
Hang on, is that Lawrence Taylor wrestled at WrestleMania 11 in the main event? Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, the Giants football player.
He was the best.
Yep.
He was. Well, fellas, it has been a fun, loud Friday night, and it felt like we were in a bar at times, and that's the goal of the show. Frustrating, annoying, fun, and crazy. And drunk now. So happy Friday. I hope everybody's having a good Friday, and I hope everybody does well with their teams and their bets for tomorrow and Sunday, Gary, Mr. Tom, Ben, Italy Jet, Gary, Director John, Mark. Much love to all you guys.
Are we doing an after show?
Oh, yes. We will be hanging out for a little bit afterwards. If anybody wants to join us backstage, feel free to join us for a little chat and about. We will see you guys next week.
Good night, everyone.
All right. So good night from Brooklyn.
Show us what you got.